Welcome to This Is How We Create, a show that digs deeper into the creative life of contemporary artists of color. Discover what feeds their creativity and how they found or are finding their artistic voice. Through these intimate and candid conversations, you'll gain insights into the lives of creative professionals of color that are hard to find anywhere else. During my conversation with Chandra Lynch, she shares how she became really enthralled with the arts, mainly due to a fluke accident in high school where she fell in love with theater. Through our conversation, Chandra reveals why she started her production company and how she battles with perfectionism and comes out the winner. Please enjoy this wide-ranging conversation with Chandra Lynch. Chandra, you grew up in New Orleans and in Indianapolis. Can you tell us about how you came to be exposed to the arts?
I'm not even really sure what drove me to pick up a camera. I just always kind of wanted to do it, and I liked freezing moments in time. It was just something I kind of intuitively picked up. I think I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I was using those old cardboard disposable cameras that you have to click 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 to get to the next frame. And I don't know, it was just something about it. I just enjoyed freezing those moments and looking at things from different perspectives. And I would be climbing under trees or in trees and taking pictures from just different angles and things like that, just trying stuff out. And I just really enjoyed it. I didn't even know photography was a thing, really. I just know I just liked doing it. And my mom and my dad, they just saw that, I kind of enjoyed this thing. And then I had a class, I believe it was in middle school, and we got to learn how to use film cameras. And that really kind of set me off. And I just enjoyed how beautiful I could make things look with shadows and lights. And then the whole process of developing the photos in the darkroom, that also intrigued my love of science, because you have the chemicals and you get to learn how to mix them and make the photo pop. And it was just all just a wonderful process to me. I just enjoyed it so much.
How did the theater come into play with your early childhood?
Well, with theater, my mom, she loved theater too, and she would take me to see plays in Chicago. She would take me to see plays, actually, really all over the country. But there was one in particular that I remember in Louisville. It was a play called Flying West, and it had such an impression on me because it was these beautiful, strong Black women leading this show and taking care of things, on their own time and in the way that they wanted to. It's a beautiful story. It's a tragic story, but it's a beautiful story. And it just intrigued me. And I was just like, I would love to be able to do that. But I was also very, very, very shy. Very shy. Would be terrified to just have a one-on-one conversation with somebody. But those plays really had impact on me. And it was always in my mind, like I would love to do that. And I love film as well. And just anytime I would watch movies, I'd be like, I could do that. But it's just that shyness would take over. And then in high school, I wanted to be in choir, because with choir, you could kind of fade into the background and not be seen too much. And you could choose between choir or theater. And the day that we were supposed to make that decision, I was sick. And by default, I got put into theater, and I was mortified. It was like, oh no, they're going to make me talk. I can't do this. It looks like it's fun, but me personally, I cannot do this. I'm way too shy. I don't want to talk to anybody. But they gave me those lines, and I got up on that stage, and it was a completely different story. I was up there like, I love this. Everyone, yes, it's me. Hello. And as long as I was saying other, lines someone else wrote, I was good. And I loved transforming into these characters and just entering these worlds and being immersed in them. And that's kind of where things took off for theater.
Around what age were you then?
I was 15.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So then you started doing theater, and did you start modeling around that age as well? Or did you do modeling later on?
There were points in my life where I tried modeling. Well, not tried, but I did some modeling for some designers in Ohio. And it was just something my mom found and got me involved in. And I did those here and there, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. I was the only child, so being around other child models, it was nice. But those were very sparse, but it was nice. But the acting actually led into the modeling because way later on, I went to college, graduated, decided to be an artist instead, and when I got an agent and for acting, they were just like, modeling kind of comes hand in hand with this, and I was just like, well, I don't know if I could do that. And they're like, no, you're fine, and it just kind of took off from there.
Can you talk to us about some of the things that you learned about modeling and how you came to continue to do it?
The field of modeling that in just being in the Midwest, you were doing a lot of commercials, and I learned how they can really come hand in hand. When you're modeling, you're putting on a show for maybe this product or this service, and you don't necessarily have to talk, but you can embody whatever it is that you're needing to do. If it's comedic, you can embody that. If it's dramatic, you can do that. Just transforming into these other things is just always fun to me. So with me, the modeling and the acting kind of go hand in hand, and I just enjoy it so much.
Whenever, as a lifestyle photographer, I think our job in so many ways is to just bring out emotion. And I can always tell when someone's thinking about something else. When they're vague, you could tell it comes through the eyes. And I always ask them, what are you thinking about? And they're like, I don't know, nothing. And I'm thinking, yeah, because I can see it. And I'm curious to hear from you about, being an actor and modeling. How do you use emotion to do your job and to do what it is that you're meant to do when you have, let's say you're in a commercial, or if you are, I saw recently on your Instagram that you were pregnant and were having complications.
Yeah.
You were, at least your character was, right? So how do you talk to me a little bit about your process when you are on set, whether you're acting or if you're modeling?
A big thing I've learned is to just, as artists who are working with their bodies, working with their voices, and you have to be relaxed. So I've incorporated meditation into my practice often so that I can, when I am out, and I can concentrate and I can really get into essentially playing pretend and using my imagination and freeing up blocks in my mind, because we society kind of programs us to edit ourselves so much that a lot of that creativity can be lost. And learning that, how to relax and really get in tune with myself, that helps a ton. But essentially, I'm just playing pretend like a child would when they're playing with their toys in their bedroom.
Can we talk about your routine for meditating and for centering yourself a little bit? How does it come about? Do you have a morning routine? Is it something that you do every day? Is it that something that you do when you're on set and before you go in front of the camera as you're getting your hair and makeup done? I'd love to know a bit more.
It varies with me. I still haven't figured out that set routine, and sometimes you kind of just have to listen to your body to see what you need at that time. My business partner is actually the one who even really got me into meditation and showed me how important it was for the artistic process. I started reading a lot of Osho books, but the actual meditation, I'll find a good guided meditation on YouTube. It can be as simple as that, or turn on some, sound frequencies, healing frequencies, and have those playing in my ears as I'm walking to set or while I'm getting hair and makeup done. Or have it in the background while I'm getting ready. Just something to kind of keep you in tune with yourself, keep you present, keep you relaxed. I think meditating first thing in the morning is always is a good practice for anybody, and I try to do it. But there's something about those things that we're supposed to be doing that we know will help us. Sometimes we have a resistance to that, and even more so that means even more so that you do need to practice it. But it is hard to stay consistent. It's hard to keep on those things, but I try my best.
That's all you can do, to be very corny. My fifth grade, where some teacher taught me this really, really corny saying that I use to this day: try with a little bit of umph and you will triumph.
Oh, I like that.
Now I can you tell me about the decision to go to school to be pre-med? Did you, when you were growing up, want to be a doctor or want to be in the medical field?
Yep, I went to school for, that was always the plan for me to be a doctor. I wanted to find the cure for cancer. I wanted to heal everything and just do my part to help make the world a better place. And I've always been fascinated by science. I went through several things that I may, different kinds of doctors I may have wanted to be, but it was always doctor. But I was also always doing photography in the background. But art was never presented to me as something that you could do for a living. It was just always like, this is what you do for fun. It's a fun thing to do, but you do have to find something that has some stability. And so that was always there. But when I got into school, I enjoyed it. It was great. It was fine, but something was missing. And I finally figured out what that was. Is I'm an artist through and through. And once I started my photography company in 2008, I have not regretted it since. Like, it feeds my soul so much. And I do like to say all the time, like, just do what you love. You can find a way to make money. I know we live in a world where we need to do that, but just do what you love. I did not want to be one of those people going to work every day and hating it.
Tell us about starting your photography business. How did you go about doing it?
That that has been quite a journey. Starting my business, I didn't know what I was doing at all, and I didn't have the resources to ask anyone around me. I was just feeling it out, and I researched the legal way to start your business and all the paperwork and getting all that filed, and I did that, and I just started going. People knew me as always having a camera anyway, so it was a kind of nice transition. Learning how to price myself was probably one of the hardest things, because this was something I was doing for free for forever. So trying to figure out how to price myself was quite a journey, and I didn't price myself fairly for a very long time, and I know a lot of artists go through that kind of thing. But it's been a learning experience. I've just been learning as I go, and I don't know. I can't see myself doing anything else.
What are some of the tactical things that you learned in terms of figuring out the correct way to price yourself in your market, or even maybe it's the other way? You figured out your market and then you priced yourself accordingly, or you created your portfolio for that market. I'd love to hear some of the tactical things that you've done.
It's been a little different depending on the type of photography I was doing. I did a lot of wedding photography for quite a while. And I really would think about, okay, how many hours will I be there? How much will I have to do? What kind of equipment do I have to take? How will this tax me? And then, how much time am I spending after, getting things prepared for this person? And how much time have I spent kind of perfecting these different techniques that will help these people have great photos. And then also kind of looking at the pricing around me. I don't know, I just would go off of my time spent and things like that. And then also how much I want to work, how much I want to do it. Eventually the wedding photography, I realized I just started moving in different directions. I kind of keep morphing, keep evolving into trying different. I like to try different things. I don't like to stay too mundane. I like to, well, let me try this out. I did some travel photography. I got some gigs where I was photographing Harlem Globetrotters. I wanted to do things for National Geographic, and once I started really moving more into professional acting, I'm around a lot of actors and models, so I started doing, and still do, mainly headshots and portfolios for actors and models. And because I'm in the industry and I know what's needed and what's required, and I can help coach a model right then and there because I also model, or I can help an actor present them their best selves in their headshots because I'm also an actor. I can speak that language to both people. So, with all of that combined with my expertise and how much I want to work, that's how I've kind of priced myself through the ages, I guess.
Thanks so much for sharing. All right, so let's talk about your production company. Tell me the story of how you and your business partner decided to open up your production company.
Okay, so I'm here. It's photography for many years. I'm doing my thing. I'm learning branding and marketing and social media management and all of this stuff for myself. And I'm learning that I really enjoy just kind of doing this. And I'm giving other business owners and artists and people who are trying to create brands around me. I'm giving them advice as I'm learning and I'm reading and I'm helping them out. I'm like, wow, I really do like doing this. And then around the same time, I meet my business partner, Jamal McCrae, and we know each other for, several years, and we're talking, and, I find out he's a playwright, a director, an actor, and I start reading some of his things, and I'm like, wow, these are really good. And he's just like, well, why don't we kind of combine things and add in a theatrical aspect and maybe some film as well. Like this kind of makes sense to do that. So we did a complete rebrand, added all that beautiful stuff in there, and now we've produced 4 of his original stage plays, and they're really good. It's very symbolic. It's very edgy. It's provocative. It's adult. It's just art. It's beautiful performance art, and you've never seen a stage play like one of ours before. I can guarantee that.
Well, can you talk about that? What is it that makes it different from other stage plays? What makes your production company so different? What do you do?
His shows, the way Jamal writes his plays, it's Shakespearean in a way because he has his own language, and it's fun and it's funny and it's outrageous. And as an audience member, what we hear people all the time, they're just like, they can't believe what they're watching. They know it's funny, they know it's hilarious. There's social commentary in there as well, but it's just he presents it in a way that is symbolic and funny, and it's for the culture, and there's just nuances in it that are kind of understood from a human level. And then you add the actual performance, the physicality that's in a lot of the shows. It's not like a classical play where it may just be really wordy and somber or just dramatic. It's fun. We want people to have fun when they come to see our shows. We don't want you to come, just to support. We appreciate support from our friends. We want people to actually enjoy their experience. And that's just like I said, one of the main things people say is we've never seen anything like this before. When are you doing more things?
Chandra, production is at the backbone of any creative endeavor, from bringing a commercial to life, to bringing a movie to the big screen, to bringing a play to the stage. I'm really curious as to the skills that you learned as you were creating your production company, or the skills that you acquired while building the production company. Can you share some of those things, those skills with us, please?
One of the biggest skills is patience. When you're a company that's kind of building from the bottom up, patience is huge because it's going to be a rough road, and you really have to have the patience and keep your mind on why you're doing what you're doing, because things can get really difficult, and resourcefulness as well. You can, when you're an artist and you're good at what you do, you don't have to have a lot of fancy equipment. Especially starting out, you may not be able to, but you can create whatever type of artist you are. You can create, and you just have to be resourceful. You can create with anything. If you want to be a filmmaker, you can start with a phone. With a phone, you can create your films with a phone. You just have to create, and letting go of perfectionism, and that's kind of been the hardest for me because I care so much about the art and about the craft, and I do want to present it properly, and I want to show, hey, this is what's in my head. This is what I got to get out. This is what I want to share. But perfectionism can really stunt you to the point where you don't put anything out, and it's just like you have nothing to show because you're waiting for this to get better and this to get better to understand this more. And it's just like, no, you gotta just get it out and learning to be okay to make mistakes.
Gosh, I'm in recovery from perfectionism as
So
well.
hard.
It's difficult. And I had this conversation with my podcast producer who's probably going to be editing this episode. So Alex, this is about you. And we were talking about making sure that we're about to relaunch all of the past episodes that we did just to prepare for this season that's coming up. And so he wanted to do this and do that and do this and do that. And I was like, man, like we have 2 weeks to do this. We cannot be too perfect. We just need to get it done. And I said, we have to put progress before perfection. Because otherwise, if you want everything to be just so like buttoned down, sometimes you're not going to get it done. And we know that nothing's ever perfect.
No, it's not. And I don't know, there's also a beauty in letting go of that perfectionism so you can really develop yourself as an artist. You can really find it. Sometimes your mistakes can be your style, your winning edge, I've discovered. So, getting rid of that perfectionism and just making sure you express yourself however you feel. That's a big one.
I love it. All right. So with your production company, so you're doing production as well as helping people build their brands. How does it work? Who does production? Who does more of the brand building? Or do you and Jamal do both?
Well, Jamal is more on the directing, playwriting. He's the playwright. He's the actor. He's more on the, that theater production side of things. And I do the branding, social media, and all that. And it's really just me using the talents I have to help the creatives around me just boost themselves. I like to see other people doing well. And if I can use, some tools that I have to help that, let's do it.
I'm just thinking that someone is listening to this podcast episode and they're really curious as to, one, what are the tools that you use to help creatives boost their brand, their personal brand, and their creative business. And the second thing too, I'm wondering, what are some pieces of advice that you offer them as you're working with them?
So I use my photography, my just overall artistic skills in doing like graphic design and things like that, and just business acumen I've acquired over the years to help create strategy on social media. It's just something that I've just kind of fallen in love with, and I like the process of figuring out, well, this is who we want to talk. This is the audience that we want to talk to, and well, how do we get to that point of how do we engage that audience? How do we make this look good to this type of person? Just figuring that out and developing and creating all these beautiful aesthetics and taking brand photos or whatever photos are needed for that person to elevate is how I do. I just use the talents I have. Sometimes acting goes into that too. They may need a commercial. I know plenty of actors that can be in these commercials for you. I could be in these commercials, and I have Jamal's a writer. He can write scripts for these commercials to help people elevate. It's just using everything what I can to help the creatives around me through photography, writing, acting, graphic design, and business strategy.
Chandra, what's one book, a piece of advice, or new way of thinking that's changed your outlook on life in the last 10 years?
There's one called Golden Nuggets that just has random thoughts and different ways to think about life, different perspectives to think of different perspectives, different ways to think about things, and ways to just center yourself. And I think that's very important for artists to be in touch with themselves, because art is it's an intimate thing. You're really showing your soul and who you are, and you want to make sure that you're taking care of that soul so that you can create purely. And incorporating, and he speaks a lot about meditation, incorporating that into my regimen and like I was stating earlier, journaling, writing. There's a process in a book called The Artist's Way. It's called Morning Pages, where you're just going. You're writing, no filter. You just say what you're just going, and you're saying whatever, and you're just getting it out and getting that editor out of your head that tells you, this isn't good. This you got to fix this. You can't do this. It's just a stream of consciousness, and doing that every morning, just 3 pages going. It really helps that creative process and I mean, honestly, The Artist's Way is, I haven't made it all the way through the book yet, but it's already done so much just doing those morning pages, not even getting into the activities in the book, but the morning pages do so much for your creativity. And it also just really kind of centers you throughout the day and helps you stay focused and things like that. It gives you a lot of clarity. And I think that's a really important practice. Everybody should just start doing that, artist or not. It's just a helpful thing for the human brain. It really is.
Perfect. Chandra, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This has been so much fun. I can't wait for everyone to hear this episode.
Thank you so much.